for a struggling mid laner, this could be the golden ticket for EDG in Draft 4.
That means Kai'Sa does go over towards Light. Light has had an amazing series so far tonight, and now this Poppy pick was such a pain to deal with for the side of EDG, but this time around, the LeBlanc FoFo, he has to show up because Game 3, he was completely silent.
Okay, important note here, in the finals between LNG and JDG, we saw a LeBlanc let through, and 369 played Poppy top lane to match side lanes and did pretty well against it. There is a chance that TheShy takes this towards the top lane just to be able to potentially stop LeBlanc from controlling the side lanes. The W does strong in that matchup.
I want to see what else EDG partner with it though. We've already got the Sejuani. Again, we talked about Sejuani Renekton not doing so well just in terms of stats in the series.
Oh,
what? Fiora for Arla. Okay, does TheShy still take it with that in mind?
So, there are some interesting things about this matchup with Fiora and Poppy. You can, of course, stop the dash of the Q from Fiora with the Steadfast Presence, but if you pop it too early and Fiora presses W mid-Q, you can effectively trigger it, trigger the stun, get the riposte for free.
EDG locking in a 1-3-1 composition so far with the static shift, of course, going into the hands of FoFo for this Game 4. But EDG's composition overall for the time being is going to be relatively hard to execute. And an ongoing trend for the entire series is whoever has the better team fighting because it's easier to pull off.
And this is such a different game from that. EDG, what have we criticized them for? It's the macro. They have individual heroics, but the macro has left a lot to be desired. They have to play a 1-3-1 composition even with these 3 picks locked in. LeBlanc's going to be in a side lane with a static shiv. Fiora's going to be in a side lane trying to kill and duel their opponents. EDG, they want to play a wide map, which has typically not been their strength, and now with 1 game away for elimination, they're using their weaknesses in a draft and trying to overcome them.
What a time to do it. Again, when your back's up or against the wall, change your pace as they ban away the Rumble and making sure that, again, they're not going to get harassed too much in that top side. Arla, the Fiora is synonymous with him, much like the Jax. Historical fans of the LPL will understand that point. As right now, Weibo are getting rid of that wave clear, that'll sit as part of the 3.
They are, yeah, because you need to get rid of this wave clear in the mid lane to stop those side lanes having free reign. We talked about the Poppy potentially going towards top lane. I'm not sure you particularly want to do that against the Fiora. Maybe you look towards something like a K'Sante, unless EDG want to ban that as well. I don't even know if they want to lock in something like an Ornn. That does suffer into the Fiora matchup. It's difficult options here for the TheShy.
The problem is with EDG's composition right now is that they need a safe 3-man towards the mid lane. You can't get engaged on. The Sivir has been already taken away. The Zeri, which has extra mobility. So is Uzi going to pick the Ezreal towards the bottom lane? But it doesn't really work because you're versing a Kai'Sa, and that is a historically losing matchup.
TheShy loves K'Sante. I'm just going to mention this in there, guys. That or nah, it feels like, again, you're talking about limited options. If the Poppy's not going top, which now we know it's not, K'Sante to try and survive the matchup.
Now, Jamada is a huge K'Sante player on our LPL broadcast, and he's talked about the K'Sante versus Fiora matchup, but there is some chance to outplay that. TheShy has outplayed Arla in some 1v1 moments here. You can very much easily lose this matchup, though. Fiora is one of the premier tank killers in the game. There is a huge burden now on TheShy to hold Arla at bay.
Now they do deny the Nautilus away from Weibo Gaming, as that is going to be an excellent answer into FoFo's LeBlanc, but what is Uzi going to play? That is going to be the biggest problem because we do know that Light, he has been extremely consistent, but with no champions left, it has to be creative.
Varus hasn't been looked at today, guys. Kitty, you were saying the Ezreal. Is it going to be enough wave clear? I mean, again, that seems to be the question, doesn't it?
This Varus hasn't been successful for most LPL teams in playoffs and particularly in regionals. It doesn't look happy. It's locked in anyway. It can stand and fight against some of these tanks. It's good in lane. It's good with the Nautilus in terms of CC combos, but it's not a successful pick recently.
Look, the Varus has been dropped so devastatingly low in terms of priority because you're so vulnerable to engage. Look at Weibo Gaming. They lock in the Rakan as that final pick. If you get the Grand Entrance onto your face, Light can dash onto your head, and this Varus is pretty much gone from the equation.
There's another threat as well in the K'Sante. K'Sante is a backline duelist over top laner as well. He gets into the back of a team fight and he kills immobile AD carries. Varus doesn't have that much mobility. TheShy, he needs to hold Arla at bay, but if he does, he has great team fight impact against Uzi.
So I think we already talked about this, you guys. Kitty, you especially set up the side lanes here for EDG, changing their composition down line. Or you'll be crossing to the other side. The other side happens to be 2024. We go into game number 4. And the audience will warmly welcome us to see if Weibo can get it across or if we go to yet another Game 5.
EDG backs against the wall. 2-1 down against Weibo. Felt like the other victory that they had as well was against the head. There was a chance that, well, a very strong chance really, let's be honest, that Weibo should have ended that game. It was a fight around the Baron which went away from them, but EDG at least managed to punish those mistakes. This time, they need to be the team that makes little mistakes. It's a bit of a flip around for that too.
EDG, for this game 4, they have great single targets. Uzi, you can't be getting caught like that!
The virus, I mean, there we go. Light and Chris might set up the first blood, but Meiko flashes over. They've gone deep for this. Uzi turns it around. Hang on, this 3v2. This bait in is cleansed. Flash now gone. Light slowed down. EDG was all a lure, as Chris might have to burn it as well. And yes, he does. No summoners left remaining. Uzi must be grinning.
And EDG look light into the eye, but they're not blinded by it. They see past it, and they get 4 summoners for just the 3. I mean, 2 of them are on their support rather. Uzi keeps his flash very importantly.
Again, Dreadline's going to come through. Oh, Chris! Why did you do that? Light gets autoed and first blooded. Uzi survives, and Chris with a crucial mistake.
And the Varus gets ahead in the 2v2. Meiko utilizing that Hex Flash, getting his hands onto Light. This was the exact scenario that they needed for this duo to work.
And I guess it wasn't a 4-for-3 trade in terms of summoners, it was 4-for-2.5 because Hex Flash is still available. Incredibly important. Chris, what are you doing? What is that W? That is so crucial of a misplay. Puts Light right under the bus. Might have led to a big chunk onto Chris, but you had to know that Heist would get caught if they W'd out of the way.
Especially with Weiwei starting on the red, but he wasn't able to rotate towards that early 3v3 and Jiejie being there first. Although he had to burn his flash, this is going to be a huge win as the static shiv is going to be slowly continued by Uzi.
Light already down. Significant amount of CS. It will be at least when the waves start to reset. Has to feel like Weiwei going towards this top side. Weiwei, last time he was on the Poppy, what a great game he had. This one player on the Rift who has not seen the world stage before. He's 1 game away from it. This team's not starting off to a great point for him.
Weiwei, you thought he was going to go towards the top side, but he positions mid against this LeBlanc with a level 3 Poppy. FoFo will die if he gets caught out here, but you can see as well, Chris is making the roam at level 2. Weiwei looking for something here, the W. He's indeed, but it's flashed away instead. FoFo gets out, but with the summoner down.
Was really waiting to see if FoFo would jump forward. Instead manages to cancel it with the E. If that's a summoner for nothing, that's something. Stops FoFo quite as easily being able to take over the map.
Weiwei once again doing it on the Poppy, but he still has that flash available, and guess who doesn't have flash? This bottom side, Meiko. The wave is going to be very crucial in how they continue this.
Weiwei in a good spot. Kitty, as you said, the wave not. Uzi and Meiko might be caught out. Can WBG get some revenge? Uzi uses that flash, but Chris follows up. A second skin proc. Light, it doesn't hit. Chris under turret gets Uzi another.
Burned to a crisp. Rakan goes down, and Crisp has been caught out with a couple of big mistakes now.
But Jiejie, he sees the bottom lane getting ganked by the enemy jungler. He wants to make something happen. The Fuhrer has to be ahead in this matchup.
Look at that Vital as well. Arla is going to get some free damage to start off. Jiejie on a ward. To correct myself before, it was Meiko who picked up the kill, but the bottom lane in a great position. EDG with more than a 1k gold lead as TheShy is playing disrespect here. Jiejie just going to knock him around a little bit as he's forced back to his own turret.
The problem is the wave is slow pushing towards Lua, so TheShy needs someone to bail him out right here, but no way. Weiwei is towards that bottom side, so he's not going to be coming anytime soon.
He's not, but he might be able to catch some on the way back to lane. He's going to be able to sit in this brush and bot side turret. You can see that Jiejie is trying to shield bot side, but he's a way off. He's not going to be there to protect Uzi if Weibo wants to flash on someone.
Meiko, no summoners apart from the Ignite. There's the flash. They want something. Finally, Weibo are going to look for it, but they haven't finished the kill! They haven't finished the kill! Light gets it, but now Chris might just start at Uzi. Auto, dead! Uzi now with the arrow in the quiver. Weiwei's up next. The sniper comes in. The hail of arrows and the hail of tears of Weibo fans.
Weibo tried to force bot lane, and the bot lane forces back. Uzi, right from the start of the game, has been under fire, but he weathers the storm, and now he is 3-0.
Weibo Gaming being the proactive ones towards this bottom side, but it is backfiring with Chris making crucial mistakes on this Rakan, but Meiko having a great showing in this Game 4.
It is so important that EDG managed to withstand this pressure against other games in the series. We've seen this bot lane fall apart, but as you said, they don't manage to finish the kill. The W shield comes back up for the Nautilus, which buys time. I really wonder if it was a mistake for weiwei to flash onto the Nautilus instead of trying to go onto Uzi outside of the turret as he came back to the lane. Cost them their lives.
With extra longswords into his pockets as well, this Varus is so much damage. I guess this is just absolutely insane. We critiqued this Varus coming into this game, but still, it is a very strong early game champion with the Halo Blades as well, as long as you're able to DPS without...
Well, Meiko might be caught out. weiwei can't stop him getting over the wall. It's flash burnt, but still, even though Meiko's caught there, remember EDG are the ones with the 2k gold lead. They got the first dragon as well. And in a Game 4, in a high-pressure situation, Weibo are failing.
Yeah, weiwei, he's really trying his best. He's got summoners, but that's all it's amounted to. It's just those summoners. Again, weiwei, he's the one player that hasn't been to Worlds. Everyone else has had international appearances, international titles, international successes. Really is this newcomer who's trying to define this match, but he's being held at bay by Uzi.
It's a hard environment for him. Just note, CS lead here for weiwei. Disadvantage is Jiejie has been the one in control naturally, with all the time weiwei spent trying to get this game back on track. He's losing out in the jungle, top side losing out in CS, mid losing out in CS, and Uzi with the 3 kills. Of course, he's got a gold lead. So every lane for EDG right now is a success story.
But they have to keep the ball rolling. One singular mistake could mean that this Varus gives the bounty over, and that's exactly what Weibo Gaming wants in the hands of Light, where they excel at the 5v5, and EDG, I don't know if they can push the game further enough for Ala to be effective in the side lane.
I think particularly with these competitions, you're absolutely right to at least add that question mark, the caveat. If you make a mistake and Uzi does die in a bad situation, then Weibo can run through large areas of the map. EDG, they need to have control, they need to have wave clear, they need to buy space for this LeBlanc and this Fiora to move into side lanes when we finally get to that point. We're not at that point yet, and now as it stands, EDG heading towards bot side.
This could be a potential dive. Jiejie without the ulti, but look at weiwei. Patience a virtue for this jungler. There's Uzi with Chains of Corruption, wants to threaten even more, but they stop for now. They branch out as weiwei wasn't spotted, but again, Jiejie not going to overforce.
Jumping beyond the mid wave. We haven't really had to talk too much about this mid lane matchup. It's some trades back and forth, really not as much of a kill threat. He does have the cook, potentially. Hits it!
Next, FoFo, he can now follow this up. There's a flash, ignite down, FoFo has flash, almost. Xiaohu jumps in but dies. Here comes weiwei, but he's too late. FoFo chains out and Meiko's roam seals the deal.
Not only has Meiko helped his team survive the pressure through bot side, he thrives on the map as soon as he's given a chance. This Nautilus really making the impact in mid lane.
What a complete switch up from the support of EDG. Like you said, now the LeBlanc is ahead and Xiaohu no longer has that flash available, so he doesn't have the ability to push up into his own lane. Now with Jiejie also hitting level 6, and that is going to really affect the way that weiwei is going to be able to play around these objectives.
You know, LeBlanc jumping beyond the wave, it's obviously very dangerous, but it wasn't realistically kill threat until Xiaohu tries to step up, control that trade. I think at that point he just had to back off, understanding he didn't have control of either side of the river. There was always the chance that someone could fly in, loses his life for it.
And the really clever thing is he utilized his time framing where Uzi went back for a recall and then Meiko went towards the mid lane. Being very proactive is something that we haven't been seeing from the EDG support.
I feel like ultimately Meiko on Hook champions of the past has been idolized. This split maybe not, but I'm glad we're returning to the former as EDG with full control of this map. Almost a 3k gold lead now. Herald in their back pocket as well. And
it's Herald with 0 cross-map potential from the side of Weibo as well. You can see that Light is recalling. They're not looking for a play onto someone like Uzi. He has both summoners and ult. Would be a mistake at that point. So Weibo, they're not gaining anything for this Herald. This Herald is going to get value, and EDG, they are starting to set up a real chokehold across the map.
And when we talked about holding this mid lane, right, Kitty, I know you especially, as Dredgeline going to come through, but it is Rakan.
Supportal combat.
Uzi now has himself a static shift, so we have a lot more wave clear already built in this early on, pre-10 minutes. Uzi with 1, FoFo with 1, EDG can damn clear waves.
I'm really curious because we have a Nautilus and a Poppy in this game, and we all know how this interaction goes, where you hook the Keeper's Verdict, and with Meiko's form so far, maybe he can pull that off with how consistent he's been being.
He's going to rendition up as he takes a turret shot on the way out. TheShy is just trying to get him off the turret, but Ala picks up yet another bit of plating.
It's one of the problems in this matchup when you do kind of lose control of the first couple of trades, you get chunked out. You can't hard trade onto Fiora. Fiora ignores you, gets demolished on tower and gets plates for free. Renekton can do it too, but this Fiora is going to be much more of an issue in the side lanes after that point.
God, the solo queue games are really paying off for FoFo. Jace, LeBlanc, and the Tristan are really getting the priority towards the side of EDG, and this time around, the first time the LeBlanc has been let open in the entire series.
I'm trying to remember who said it from Weibo in one of our videos before we came back to live, but they were talking about how one of EDG's biggest strengths has been their laning phase, and look at those lanes, they are all ahead. Yes, EDG, they had some skirmishes toward the bot side to help them out, but in mid lane, in top lane, EDG getting significant advantages, and Weibo, if they need to find a counterpunch to break the full court press which EDG have, they don't have that many tools to do it with right now.
I mean, looking difficult. Herald now going towards FoFo mid. Jiejie shares some spoils, but if you look at plates across the board, 1 bot, 2 top, 3 now mid, and EDG are trying to use Jiejie to keep that going as weiwei just has to hover on the counter-offensive.
So Dragon's going to be started up by EDG. I don't know if the tools are there to fight from Weibo right now. They've tried it before, but they don't have something like an Azir to shuffle in. Xiaohu would have to teleport back into the play. He is recalling. Are they looking for this play seriously?
Chris is level 6 now, though, and we do have TPs available from TheShy on this Cassante, but it does seem like it's going to get rushed.
Poppy ult gets away, FoFo. They want to take the fight still, but Weibo are losing their jungler's health bar. Chris pops the ulti. Xiaohu's teleported in here as Chris has to flash Robert. Uzi gets out. Meiko's not dead. Weibo with his dying breath gets the charge as is the other TP, but TheShy is low on health. EDG, this fight looks easy as Weibo is separated. Arla gets the reset on ulti. Meiko will die to TheShy, but EDG wants some more. FoFo will flash over to meet him at the hill, and as he dies down, TheShy with one more gives openings to EDG as Light versus Uzi now happens. Cleanse is available, but he won't need it with no ulti. Uzi tries to hide away, buy some time. The rest of EDG won't help him out, but even though Uzi dies for a big shutdown, EDG got so much.
4 for 2 and a dragon to the favor of EDG in such an important game for them. It could have all fallen apart for them if that bot side pressure hadn't come through. But with the control they have around the bot side of the map, they get to approach the dragon with a lot more poise. And Weibo, they struggle to find the fight.
It was such a weird engage. Like you said, Weibo Gaming, they realistically didn't have the situation to look for this 5v5, but they commit so much. Uzi flashing away from Chris' initial engage as his double TPs from the top laners also get committed. Ala picking up 2 kills from this fight as well. That is going to be crucial because once you look at Weibo Gaming's composition, they have no one to match the Fiora. However, Light was able to pick up the bounty gold from Uzi, and that's something we highlighted for the win con of WBG.
Light at least tagging the W1 to Uzi allows him to ult forwards and get an important kill back, but as much as we've talked about this game not being about team fighting as opposed to the rest of the series and the fact that EDG want to win through sidelines, or at least they have a win condition through sidelines, that team fight solidly went in their favor.
Again, so clean though from EDG. What a turnaround for game number 4 in a series that gets you to Worlds. The backs might have been against the wall, might have been a different style of composition, but we have got comfort on the board here for EDG, and they're playing so well with their own comfort.
Top lane is now at a 30 CS deficit. Also, the Sunder is getting picked up by Ala. This matchup is completely unplayable for TheShy now, as you see Ala picking up a 3rd tower plate.
He just keeps blocking away the final Natofo strike. Ala in no threat, steps up. Doesn't care, Kitty. That lead is going to grow continuously as TheShy is just struggling to get to 100.
See that TheShy is just trying to wave clear for all he's worth, trying to push the minions away from the tower, so Arla takes tower aggro and he can't use the demolish, but he's just so happy in this matchup. We already talked about that, Divine Sundra, all the items being hit in a good time now. Meiko!
Edge line change of corruption, this Rakan used to getting out, but his depth charge also burned. Crisp finds an exit, luckily. And a couple of ultis used by EDG, but still, that's just the threat.
Yeah, where do Weibo get their advantages now? What's going to happen here? They group up towards bot side, but they're losing in so many individual matchups. It feels like everywhere is an alarm siren. Everyone's trying to call the emergency services, but there's just not enough responses from Weibo to control the map.
Especially with Chris getting caught out as well, that forces Light and weiwei to back off from the bottom lane 3v3, and that allows Ala to go for the tower without any pressure, and this Fiora is going to become a very big problem for Weibo Gaming to deal with.
I think what that leads us to, unfortunately for Weibo, is kind of a situation which EDG found themselves earlier in this series, where you are waiting for mistakes. You're waiting for someone to walk over a ward, walk away from the rest of their team, and catch people split. They can't win in many 1v1s. They can't win in many even fights. They need to find uneven numbers.
However, EDG's composition, if you give too many opportunities over, like the bounty gold in the hands of FoFo and Alua, Weibo Gaming, they're more than happy to take that, as the Baron is going to be another 5 minutes, but the Herald's going to be 20 seconds, as you see a double rotation going towards the mid lane.
So my question to you guys is Weibo losing out on Dragons, though, despite some of the gold, if it can go over in their composition, might make a difference. is it still just such a big problem that EDG, with a split pushing comp, already have double neutral bot?
Exactly, because when you have the Dragons against a split pushing comp, you can pull them away from the sidelines and to the objective because they can't give up the soul. Weibo don't even have that. They'd have to fight back in terms of it. At least they're getting an objective bounty onto Light. Light feels like he's the one person with significant resources on Weibo. It is Kai'Sa. We know what LPL Kai'Sas can do, but this Light seems more like a candle flickering in the wind.
Hard game to play. EDG though, let's give them the praise they deserve. This team, when we're talking about 3 games in a row now, really losing out in the mid game, feeling like they're going to be quick games, have found such a great early game. Jiejie on the Sejuani finally finding poise. More importantly, I think FoFo getting LeBlanc. Maybe that's something Weibo will think hard about if this goes to a game 5.
It was a risk. You have to give up something on red side, and we thought about maybe, well, the Rel would be a first pick priority. I mean, EDG banned it themselves. Something had to fall through. Weibo, I don't know, man. Weibo, don't give up that LeBlanc. I think that's too dangerous.
And you already see Weibo Gaming, they had to look for the reset, but still, EDG having that Rift Troll in their pockets, they could realistically look for a tier 2 in the mid lane if they do want to kind of put pressure onto Weibo Gaming. They're the ones getting leashed around for this composition so far, but something that we haven't really been seeing in this game is the link up between weiwei and Crisp.
Yeah.
Crisp on this Rakan has been not consistent enough.
And it's crazy when he won Game 5 yesterday against Top Esports on it. MVP, insane performance, played it a couple of times during the series. This is one of his best picks at the moment, and the fact that he's not performing is showing you how tight under the pressure Weibo are as Arla chasing up. That was teleport from FoFo because Dragon's now up.
Yeah, Dragon's available, and Weibo are trying to find something around to get some vision control. Again, they have good ways to deal damage very long ways across the other side of the fight. You can have Kai'Sa flying across, Jay Shock Blast, and catch someone out.
He's not expecting it, he gets shoved against the wall. What a pick! What a pick!
That is exactly what they needed. Establish vision control, catch someone away from the rest of the team, and burn them down. This is a bright moment for them.
A 4-man blast cone over the wall and catches Arla off guard. Like you said, having the riposte, having the flash as well, they deny the dragon stacking away from EDG.
And Kitty, to go on your point from before, what happens when the bounties are given over to Weibo as we look at how this blast cone might get MVP for game 4?
And things are half of this replay, the important part of the replay is already done because the wards spotted Arla. They didn't have the ability to see the enemy coming in terms of Weibo. They get an important kill.
Gold went to Light on the AP Kai'Sa as now Weibo somehow uncharged. Chris comes in with the quickness. FoFo is caught out. EDG, what is happening? It's another shutdown. Light has just been given the death note as Chris has walked in, Chains Corruption. Hang on, who can throw harder? Right now I feel like I'm watching a game of football.
EDG, you can't be making these mistakes. You have a LeBlanc, you have a Fiora. You have to respect the enemy team. They have so much great gap closing, and FoFo burning the flash as well. What a terrible idea.
Weibo picked up a couple of objective bounties in the last minute or two. They picked up some shutdowns as well, and yes, you do see Crisp going down in the return of kills. Weibo still clawing back some of that gold, considering how far ahead EDG felt.
Now, EDG trying to pull their tempo back into their own making as Weibo playing defensive round blue. TheShy gets a knockback, but doesn't have the ulti to take it further. Shock Blast are doing a little bit of damage, but remember, Xiaohu isn't the one who's getting the gold. As Arla tries to put it back in EDG's favor, it's now only 5,000 the lead. As we look at this replay that we missed in the other replay.
This is one of the first things we talked about in this game. EDG, they have a composition which doesn't afford them that many mistakes. The jump forward means that TheShy can follow with the infinite amount of dashes from K'Sante to catch LeBlanc after this point. Huge ability to close distance, fly across the fight and get a kill. Crisp just, fortunately for him, misses part of that vision control himself. He gets taken down. Both teams making mistakes back to back.
The great thing for EDG is that they regain control towards this top side. They have multiple control wards placed down towards this red buff as well, with the Baron spawning in 40 seconds. The best thing about this composition is that they have great turning ability. They have the Chains of Corruption. They have Meiko on this Nautilus. They also have a lot of pressure being drawn for this Fiora towards the bottom side, where TheShy, he has to make a decision.
On vision, wondering if Weibo were going to play a bit of a mind game with this one. Xiaohu playing safely, weiwei. Just gets spotted out by that blue ward. Hex Gates helping those cheating recalls or cheating the tempo come in. Light has 3 items for this fight. Huge amounts of items in the Kai'Sa.
It's insane, isn't it? W's hit and onto Uzi. It's significant. weiwei is pushing back FoFo as he gets rooted up and flashes away. With the Herald, it gets a good charge, but the damage from Xiaohu not significant enough to add to the poke that Light is now producing.
While this is happening, EDG at the end of the day, they're still across the river onto Weibo's side of the map. They're playing in the right part of the field, and it feels like Ala in that bot side as well is continuing to cause Shy problems. Baron spawning, is that going to change the equation though? It doesn't feel like EDG have the best Baron damage.
Ulti comes through, the Shy under turret brings Ala in. Hang on, wait! Against the Fiora, the solo kill should be coming, but he flashes and doesn't get the Q back. Ala might have been dead.
That was so close for Ala. He was hugging the wall, but like you said, both flashes burnt from the top laners of this game. With the Baron still up and available, Weibo Gaming, they did manage to get relatively decent vision on this. So as long as EDG, they don't threaten this Baron, WBG, they're under no pressure whatsoever.
And I think EDG, because they don't have something like the Azir in the mid lane, and this is going to be, if it's a Rage Blade Varus when you go something AP, then you have a lot of Baron damage because you just get that continual kind of ability to DPS it down. AP Varus is not the highest Baron damage, it's something, I think it will still be of a time span that Weibo can respond to it. EDG, they would love to take that objective if they can, but Weibo, don't think they're going to give it to them easily.
Now the question is, will we have a 5v5 at this upcoming Dragon Soul? Because EDG, realistically, they can just look for even more towers towards the side lane with FoFo and Ala in both top and bottom. But still, the question is going to be, how is Uzi going to survive these team fights? Because we see Weiwei and Chris, they are linking up in these 5v5s.
Well, right now, he's going to survive it with his summoners, because one of the things about Varus is that we've typically criticized it when it is forced on so often that you never have the summoners for the important fights. The fights haven't happened that often onto Uzi for him to be without his summoners, and now he is on through items. Riftmaker, if he connects an ult, he gets to sit there, wait for the Riftmaker to get a proc, and his Q empowered with the W will absolutely one-shot.
And remember, Chris doesn't have the flash available as well. A tool that to get into that backline and force the summoners feels very crucial here on the Rakan. That's been falling a little bit flat in Game 4. At the start of this game, we were hyping up EDG. They're still the ones in control, but we have seen a couple of picks that slowed the game down. And given this Kai'Sa some leg room, Weibo are still keeping the game even. And with that Dragon, they've also slowed the pace too.
And in another game in this series with the different compositions, where we had the Renekton and Sejuani falling off, we talk about the gold lead differently. In this game, it does feel like EDG, particularly when they have shown some weaknesses around side lanes before, this gold lead is not enough for us to say they have won this game. There are still some ways they can lose it. They're getting themselves a Dragon, that's important for them. They're in control, they get themselves into Soul Point. Weibo still have some ways to punish though. They are approaching the bot side of the map.
Into the darkness though. There's no vision here. Meiko seen first. Dragon will just be dropping down, so no objective bounty from Weibo. 5 members in the river together. They are staying grouped up. Well, look at topside. FoFo is just taking the turret, doing exactly what EDG's comp wants to do.
And this LeBlanc is going to become an ongoing problem for the side of Weibo Gaming. They have to be very cutthroat with their decision-making. That has to be through Chris Flash on this Rakan, with Weiwei also following up. But we'll have to wait and see, because the Baron is still up and available. EDG, like you said, they can't rush it, so potentially look for a turn and threaten WBG to walk into them.
What they can do is starve our vision and take it at whatever pace they want to. Weibo, part of this composition, of course, obviously is hugely about getting onto the right targets and separating targets when they're isolated, killing them away from the rest of their team. You can't do that without wards, and as you can see, there's only one ward from Weibo across the river. It's just there on the bot side of mid. They're trying to get some vision control right now, but they're getting fought for.
Yeah, I mean, for that vision, I think FoFo in the end actually got it. Never mind, it's Weiwei, but it might not matter, because in the Baron, the jungle's been caught out, but Chris
Uzi!
comes in. Uzi's in the middle of no man's land. Blight just takes him as EDG. It's an equal fight, but TheShy is here first. Meiko not involved. Jiejie in the pit is given free roam. EDG were separated and torn apart, and Weibo have been given the team fight above all. FoFo gets one, reignites the crowd, but as he runs away, it's too close to call.
Again, this is why we're talking about this gold lead from EDG, feeling a little bit false. It's still strong, they're still in control, but given what we know about this team playing around side lanes, these mistakes hurt.
And Uzi, he had the flash, but what does it mean? Because WBG, they have great follow-up engage as well. You see Weiwei getting focused down by EDG instantly, but they forget that this Varus is extremely vulnerable, and Chris instantly focusing the AD carry and also Light on this Kai'Sa, an absolute menace.
Very importantly, no Nautilus at this play. That is one person not dealing DPS because they're running away from a Nautilus ult. That's a big difference. He comes in towards the end of it, has to blow the flash anyway. Weibo moving better as a unit in this one scenario.
MR debuff from Baron for a Kai'Sa. That is important to mention as well. Gets the free hit, and boy oh boy, do EDG regret it. Again, 6-1 on this pick that has been banned away from the likes of people like Gala, Jackie Love. I'm putting Light in that same menu because now once again showing us how good LPL Kai'Sas are.
So as we return back to the bigger map, we can see that EDG, they haven't got their members into the side lanes just yet. Weibo would love to stop EDG from getting themselves those free side lane pushes, but they're going towards this Baron. Now EDG, they can't really leave this Baron alone. Kai'Sa with a load of items, maybe they can force EDG to that objective now.
Luckily for EDG though, they do have a control ward on the Baron, so Ala, he is going to reset and pick up, I believe he's going to work towards that hole break, and maybe not too sure, but we'll have to wait and see because Weibo Gaming, they want to force a 5v5 in the mid lane while Uzi doesn't have flash.
We're in the Shy waiting off in the distance. No vision in river apart from the control ward in the Baron pit. These Ws from Light, every time they hit, the reset comes down and that cooldown is as low as ever. But every time they miss, it's good news for EDG.
EDG, they can really threaten Weibo if they see someone alone in the side lane as well. Meiko doesn't have the flash, but he could just launch a hook out of nowhere if Xiaohu is caught alone in that side lane. Now we do go to the Baron, we go to this rush. This has been a thorn in their side before. Weibo, can they finish it?
It could be the comeback from Weibo here in Game 4. Again, they have no business taking as FoFo jumps in.
Keep his verdict!
No, knock away! Weibo now go to turn to finish the Baron. Objective bounty and a game-defining play. Arla's in the backline on Chris, but Weibo group back up, and EDG are left amazed.
That is a top draw Poppy Ultimate. The one player that hasn't been to an international event is seriously showing up, and that gives Weibo a lifeline in this game.
I can't believe they just take the Baron under EDG's noses. Alan no longer has that TP available either, so he has to join in on these fights as a Fiora.
And Baron giveth, Weibo taketh away, but today they're just apparently, or at least in this game, giving to Weibo for once.
I mean, we've seen plenty of times over the course of the regional qualifiers, Weibo falter around the Baron, but they use the Poppy ult so well. They use the Kai'Sa with the Baron shred so well. They get in, they get out, it's an absolute heist.
Also with the Dragon spawning in around 50 seconds, it is going to be Hex Soul for EDG, but they don't have any map control. They have to let FoFo look for the inhibitor top.
They've lost so much because objective bounties are still up. It was one on the Baron, now on the mid lane turret. Gold is now even as they are just grouping mid and forcing.
Yeah, Weibo, they know the time is now. Light even got an elixir to get extra more damage for the time being. They know now is the time.
How bad do they want Worlds as 4th seed? That's what it is here on match point, on a match that EDG had in the palm of their hand. Chains of Corruption is spreading, but the mid turret goes down. No defense here as Uzi's damage is great, but EDG is still poked out. Keeper's verdict, the threat. FoFo jumping forward. He's been pivotal on this LeBlanc. Static shift, a pain to deal with as EDG look for the chase.
Keeper's verdict was reset though, so weiwei can realistically look for another 2-man ultimate to force this Dragon Soul going into WBG's ways.
Thing is, EDG have defender's advantage. They're close to their base, they can regen their HP and get back out onto the map. Weibo, they're going to use that Baron recall and they can use the Hex Gates to get elsewhere. EDG, they're trying to pull a fast one though. I don't think they can go towards the Dragon with losing so much vision control. Ala though, potentially can go towards the side lane.
Also getting rid of the blast cannon just in case weiwei does look for this top lane kill, but still, the game slows down just a little bit as the Dragon isn't getting threatened.
FoFo over the wall though, might have found Xiaohu, pops him back, Chris helps out, but the rest of EDG are here. Shock Blast was close, as Weibo are all about the bottom side of the map right now, so they will deny the soul.
EDG look a little bit indecisive. They managed to get something onto Xiaohu, but they can't finish it off. Ala can't find anything in the top lane as Weibo get themselves a second Dragon. It's a denial of the soul, it's an extension of the game timer, and as much as we were talking about earlier in the game, EDG having a very significant gold advantage, that's all but gone now.
And the Hull Breaker is picked up by Ala. It is now a 4v5 for EDG to consider. They need to buy as much time for Ala to work towards these side lanes, and specifically top lane, to get inhibitors. So EDG, they have to be disciplined and disengage every single attempt by Weibo Gaming.
At the start of this game, EDG looked hopeful in taking us to a Game 5. Now with Baron with an equal gold advantage, and with 2 Hextech Dragons under their belt, Weibo are fighting to end it here, not let it go the distance, not let it go to another draft. It would be an incredible comeback story, as on a ward, Jiejie's here, FoFo on the side, but Weibo don't pull the trigger yet.
As Zonya's on Light, can he keep this fight?
But it's a whiff, weiwei shoves him out. Again, damage is there, but not against the wall. No stun, Jiejie survives.
That's a tanky Sejuani, tanky enough to go through that one, but EDG, they're on their own side of the map on the bot side. Ala trying to get something in the 1v1.
FoFo gonna get dove, Chris flashes forward, there's the quickness, everyone jumps in! FoFo ain't Foka today, he's in the grave.
And this is the composition that Weibo Gaming has locked in.
Oh my god, what's happening topside? There's a flash from TheShy. Ala burns his own, but he will get the inhibitor turret. WBG stay bot side, all apart from Xiaohu, who's going to go top and make sure that Ala can't do any more.
Inhibitor down, TheShy does live though. It's an advantage in the side lane from EDG. That's what their composition is meant to do. Weibo, they've had some great victories over the last few minutes, but EDG and their top laner in Ala, who has been so strong for them this year, is trying to keep them in the side lane game.
And it's crazy. I'm saying sustain this comeback from Weibo. We've all seen it, but still EDG, the side lane composition you guys talked about, is still alive and well, despite all the bounties given over. There's another one that's just accrued on Arla, now with 3 items.
A flame horizon happens between Arla and TheShy. This Fiora has to be shut down, but Weibo Gaming, you already see the decision making that they have. Chris no longer has that option for another 4 minutes, while EDG, they have to also wait because this Baron's going to be in 1 minute while Arla pushes the bottom.
We are in a very dangerous dance with knives out here between EDG and Weibo. It's a dance around the map, side lanes from EDG, but a catch potential from Weibo. At this point in the game, the damage is so damn high. You step too far forward, even if someone like LeBlanc who control things so well, you just die. And that death could cost EDG that spot at Worlds. It could cost them a Game 5. Weibo could see them through to the International for the first time in the Orcs history.
Against this Poppy as well, Weiwei has been talked about time and time again this series. A performance that's been great. Uzi, the chance of him not being at Worlds. Right now, it feels like it depends on Arla whether it's going to be true or not. EDG group up as a 4-man unit. FoFo has joined in, while Weibo is a 31-minute outer turret up in the top side.
It feels like the second this Baron spawns in 40 seconds, they need to either force onto Arla.
Wait, he's going to block. The ulti's still there. The all-outers. Arla takes too many turret shots. He's tagged. Light flashes and gets yet another shutdown. Number 4.
That candle in the wind is a bonfire now. Light 8, 1 and 1. So consistent, so important for Weibo.
Now, the Baron is spawning in 30 seconds. Your top lane is another 40. Weibo Gaming, they're going to rush this.
Oh, man, with the Rabadon's death cap, it's going to be dangerous. Arla, again, this side lane punished well by Weibo.
TheShy's doing a really good job of making sure the wave is outside of turret range to get aggro onto Arla. It's an extra couple of tower shots. It allows Light to fly in with the 3rd level Kai'Sa ultimate having so much range, so reliable to get on top of him.
Talk about the items there. Zhonya's Hourglass and also the Rabadon's Light is huge. Uzi trailing with a Banshee's Veil and a stopwatch as Weibo move towards his Baron, but Arla's not alive for 15 seconds.
Stopwatch isn't a full item, but it is for 1 fight only. He's not here at the Baron. He's trying to take mid. EDG, they're not going towards the Baron.
It's going to be down. Weibo instead just take it. Uzi gets mid lane turret in the meantime. They have Baron advantage to get the recall here as TheShy versus FoFo happening in the side. Meanwhile, Teleport going to be burned as well. They want to kill TheShy. They want to get this side lane under control. But with Baron minions, makes it a little bit hard as Arla chases him down. There's no flash available. A grand chance. But Crisp, the counter engage is huge. Arla has no flash available. TheShy lives.
EDG are really trying to scratch their heads and find some inspiration to win this map state, but they're not getting given it easily.
But the Dragon is spawning in 40 seconds once again. Weibo Gaming, they had to fix the wave towards the top side. You see Xiaohu resetting. They have to walk into this blind.
But the really awkward thing for EDG is that they just put a load of resources towards bot side. They put a teleport towards bot side, but only 40 seconds before Dragon. They have to reset, so they're going to give initial positioning over to Weibo. Weibo have themselves a gold lead now. They have themselves items now. They have themselves so much pressure to play with around this Dragon, which could have been soul for them.
11 seconds. Count it down as Weibo move up from River. TheShy gets mid. FoFo goes towards top side. Super minions still pressuring, so Weibo are on a bit of a timer.
There is no contest on this. EDG, they say, okay, it could have been soul for us, but it could have also been the end of the game if we fluffed up that fight. Not to be the case in this time, and I have to say, I feel for you if you're an EDG fan. Your hearts must be in your chest. It is late game. It is a very difficult scenario in a composition which EDG haven't typically found success in. They had an advantage and it slipped away. Now Weibo, they seem very threatening.
And this composition by EDG, they can't make a single mistake. If Arla is overpushed, you already see that WBG, they're more than happy to pull the trigger with so much gap close through Chris and through Light as well. FoFo in the same scenario, but still, once again, Weibo Gaming, they're trying to look for force on the weaker side, but this time around, Uzi having the Banshees, having the Zhonyas, and also the Flash, it should be fine for the next 2 minutes.
I can't believe we're here. Again, when you're watching EDG and Weibo, teams with legends akin to them, with Uzi versus TheShy, Xiaohu versus FoFo. I mean, more importantly, Chris versus Meiko, both world champions. You think, regardless, whoever loses here, it is going to be sad not to see them at Worlds. It is sad that LPL ends here. I wish we had best of 7s, best of 9s. I'd love to watch this continue forward.
Look at FoFo!
Guess Weibo don't.
FoFo, he thinks he spots out the danger. He's very high level with a lot of items now. He has a lot of cooldown reduction. It's very hard to kill that LeBlanc. You pin him down, they die, but unless you get right on top of them, they're always going to have another cooldown. EDG, they survive in the top lane, gives Arla some space towards the bot side. Xiaohu cleaning up the wave.
3:30 till the next Dragon. Hexgate's going to be used for Arla to get on out, but I think the Baron ending in 22 seconds with a very small Baron power play is worth mentioning.
It is worth mentioning, but Weibo, at the end of the day, they still clawed back so much gold. They're happy to just keep that away from the side of EDG. It means they can play around sidelines a little more. The important thing around both these teams moving very quickly from one side of the map to the other, Weibo favoring the groups, EDG favoring the individual advantages, that Weibo are putting down vision where they go. They have littered EDG's visions, his jungle, with so many wards, and that could lead to the pick, which ends the series.
You already see, because Ala has the Hullbreaker, he is near full item. The top lane is going to be key coming into this game. I feel like it has to be through Ala backdooring. It has to be through this Fiora to end the game. You already see WBG, they're buying so much time to deny that with the double Barons going into their pockets.
On a ward, on a ward. They're on a ward. EDG are gearing up for this fight. Weiwei's on a ward. Jungler pulled on in. Big mistake by Weibo. Teleport's coming through though. That's TheShy in the middle of it all, but that teleport, what can he do with it? Meiko engages, regrets it immediately. TheShy in such a good spot now as Light is on the back line. He ultis in onto Ala. Ladies and gentlemen, Weibo are taking the fight. Somehow, some way, Weibo see the light.
That'll do it. Weibo poised to take fourth. They take the fight. I don't think they have the waves right now. There is FoFo still alive with a Shiv. It felt like it was it, but FoFo alive keeps it alive.
Hot damn, it's not over yet. Voice is gone. I'm back to 12 years old. Teleport on the last minion down the bottom side. It's been 4 days of hectic games. It has been an insane series here from WBG and EDG. Now with those death timers, we're going to find out, is this the end?
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Oh, the all-out, TheShy and Chris, they dive on in. Jiejie, the last alive, his next star's now exposed. Never before has Weibo made the leap. A newer organization looking to build a future that begins now. For the first time, Weibo will debut to the world stage, and after 4 years, TheShy will return.
It has been oh so long since we have seen TheShy on the international stage. He's had his ups and his downs, but he will be there, and that engage around the Nexus contributes to that final Nexus falling. There's a smile on Uzi's face, but it is heartbreak for him and his fans. Uzi, his return, once again going onto an organization with a storyline that it was fit for true greatness. Joining a rival organization cannot make it happen.
But this means the start of Weibo Gaming's first debut at the world stage. This is going to be their first appearance, and of course TheShy, Xiaohu, Chris, they will reunite at that international.
For a team that was built up as a super team, that has now come full circle,